Hi, I'm Ashley Selman, and welcome to the home of Evolution Trainers in Mountain View, California. And I'm here today with Lisa Ingalls, who is an expert on mind-body strategies, and she's talking to us a little bit about the program she's developed called Pranayama Running. And she's talked a little bit about what the overview of it is, but today she's going to go into a little more specifically what the actual practices are of pranayama running, and I'm looking forward to hearing about this. So tell us more, Lisa.
Yeah, so pranayama running itself, the actual practice of pranayama running, because as you remember in our last interview, I was talking about that the practice is one of the principles of pranayama running. So I do like to call it a practice versus a workout. The practice itself encompasses 5 different phases. So the first phase, and this can take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour or longer, depending on how long you want to run. But the first phase of the practice is what I call activate. And the activate phase is something that you're really familiar with, Ashley, which is movement prep exercises. So it's a series of dynamic movements, but the only difference between what you might know as movement prep and the activate is that we add the breath. So we synchronize the breath to our movement prep exercises at the beginning of our workout. So before you even start to run, we do these real specific movements that you synchronize your breath. What that does is it begins to give you the mindset that your body and breath are going to be moving together. So you set the stage.
Nice.
Activate is about setting the stage. It only takes, maybe 3 minutes? I mean, we know dynamic prep type of movements only take a few minutes. So it's really just the beginning before you've even gone into the run.
Okay.
The next phase is called the align phase. And the align phase can last anywhere from 8 to 15 minutes. You might think of this traditionally as your warm-up. But in pranayama running, the align phase is about aligning your body and your mind. So it's where we begin the practice of nasal breathing while we're running, and you're only breathing through your nose for pranayama running. Speak about that. And it's during this time that you tune in. What's going on in my body right now? Where do I have any little aches or pains? What are the messages my body is giving to me? And can I just breathe into those places and release any judgment that I have about myself? Now that's a huge piece of pranayama running, because we're going to show up differently to our practice every day, right? You're not going to run today like you ran yesterday, or you might have this fantastic run today and then tomorrow it's going to be sort of poopy, you know? So without judgment, this is what the align phase is about. It is about aligning the body and mind. Again, 8 to 15 minutes. You can think of it as your warm-up, and again, just breathing through the nose the entire time. Third phase of pranayama running is called the engage phase, and this is what I like to think of as the heart of the practice, but it really requires some technique here, because this is where you begin to synchronize your breath with your footsteps in what's called patterned breathing, and you alternate. You might know this as a track and field specialist over the years as fartlek running, where we do these periods of times. They're intervals over a long period of time, but think of it now that we're doing it with our breath instead of just for time and speed, okay? So you're synchronizing your breath to your foot patterns. So you might breathe in for 4 steps and out for 4 steps for 2 minutes, and then go to your natural breath for 3 minutes. So just intervals, and there's a million different combinations of this. This would be the engage phase, and it can be anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes long. The next phase is called the integrate phase, and the integrate phase is really when you're tapping into this state of mind that is really the zone that athletes know as the zone, and they can just
I love the zone.
Go. I know. I love the zone too. And pranayama running allows you to get there very predictably all the time if you use it, which is amazing, because the zone has been this elusive thing that athletes are like, oh, sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. I don't know how to capture it. Well, this is really the secret to capturing the zone.
Great.
Yeah, and during this integrate phase, we're using the natural breath. So we're now going away from the synchronized breathing,
Okay.
just nasal breathing, but we do what I call race mantras or mantras. Mantras you might think of in terms of, you know, these spiritual things and chanting these incantations and stuff, but really it's a form of affirmation that you repeat over and over again and use that to create focus and concentration and keep you really focused on where you're going with your practice. And then the final phase is just a cool down. Wrapping up every practice, if you go to yoga, you'll know every practice wraps up and creates closure. So with the pranayama running, we create closure with a cool down practice as well.
That's great. I love that. Well, it's funny. It brings me back to my athletic days, and I was a javelin thrower, so very different from what we're talking about, but I had a pre-competition routine that involved breathing and mantras, and I had no idea that I was onto something there, but it did help me find the zone. So I get that, and that's really neat. I would love to know how to really put it into my workouts on a regular basis. So that's very intriguing and sounds, I get why that would be so effective. So thank you for sharing all that today, and thank you for joining us. And we'll have Lisa back one more time to talk a little bit about what are we talking about next, Lisa?
The next one that we're going to talk about is how do you start using pranayama.
Great.
Or actually, we can talk about who pranayama running is for.
Great. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we will see you next time. Thank you.